The Eagles are heading into their Thursday night showdown with the Giants surrounded by a whirlwind of news. Some promising, some concerning, and some that could quietly redefine the rest of their season. Coming off a frustrating and avoidable loss, Philly has no time to dwell on missed opportunities. The quick turnaround gives them a chance to right the ship immediately. And if there's a team to bounce back against, it just might be these struggling New York Giants. But even in what looks like a favorable matchup on paper, there's more happening behind the scenes that fans need to pay attention to. Injuries, locker room dynamics, offensive inconsistencies, and a few subtle but significant shifts in the depth chart. Let's start with what could become the turning point of the Eagles season. A players-only meeting between some of the biggest stars on the roster. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley reportedly spent hours together, having what was described as a positive and productive conversation. No drama, no finger-pointing, just a raw, honest talk among leaders trying to recalibrate after a disappointing performance. Hurts later addressed the meeting in a press conference, framing it as teammates simply being teammates, focused on taking accountability and figuring out how to move forward. He didn't reveal much, but the message was clear. Something needed to change, and they weren't going to wait for the coaches to do it. And look, that's the kind of self-awareness you want to see from your locker room. This is the same quarterback-receiver duo that just a few days ago appeared to be completely out of sync, most notably on that deep ball that could have sealed the win if A.J. Brown hadn't slowed up mid-route. The fact that they didn't even talk about it right after the game raised more than a few eyebrows. A lack of communication between your top offensive weapons is a red flag, and the buzz around their chemistry, or the possible lack of it, was growing. So, hearing that they not only sat down together, but had a long and meaningful talk is a huge sigh of relief for Eagles fans. Whether or not that conversation sparks a real turnaround remains to be seen, but it's a major step in the right direction. Now, let's talk about the game itself. The Eagles head into Thursday night as clear favorites. The Giants are sitting on one win and have looked every bit like a team still trying to find its footing. But divisional games are never a sure thing. They're gritty, emotional, and unpredictable, no matter what the records say. That's why the Eagles can't afford to sleepwalk through this one, and especially not on offense. Because for all the talent Philly has, consistency has been their biggest issue. We've seen flashes, big plays, smart reads, strong drives, but too often those are followed by head-scratching play calls, penalties, or just a complete lack of rhythm. Kevin Patullo's play calling has had its moments, but overall, the offense has looked far too conservative in key spots, and it's costing them. One of the biggest frustrations has been the run game, or more accurately, the lack of one. It's not just about the running backs. It's scheme, execution, and a whole lot of questionable decision-making. Too often we've seen the Eagles run straight into stacked boxes with little variation or creativity. Outside runs are working, but they keep forcing it up the middle. And when you break down the film, it's clear the offensive line just isn't winning at the point of attack like they used to. The line isn't firing off the ball, double teams aren't creating movement, and too often defenders are blowing up plays before they even get started. That's not something you expect from a unit that's been one of the most dominant in football over the past few seasons. A big part of that might be due to health. Landon Dickerson, who's been battling a knee injury since the preseason, now has an ankle issue on top of that. Reports suggest he might miss not just the Giants game, but possibly the next two games as well. And while that's definitely a blow to the offensive line's continuity, it might also be the reset Dickerson needs to finally get healthy. If he can use this time to recover, especially with the bye week looming, it could be the best thing for him and the team long term. Because let's be honest, even though he's been pushing through, it's clear he hasn't been playing at full capacity, and that's shown up in the run blocking. But while one key piece of the offensive line might be out, there's a silver lining elsewhere. Saquon Barkley, who started the week not practicing, was back on the field and looks like he'll suit up against his former team. And if there was ever a time for him to have a statement game in an Eagles uniform, this would be it. The Giants' defense has been shaky against the run all season, and even without Dickerson in the lineup, this could be a perfect opportunity to get the ground game rolling. A strong showing from Barkley could help reestablish balance and take some pressure off Hurts in the passing game. Injury updates didn't stop there, though. Tight end Grant Calcaterra won't be available for Thursday, which is a minor loss, but still something to note. He's not a central part of the game plan, but he's a reliable receiving option when called upon, and missing that depth never helps. Fortunately, the Eagles should be able to manage without him for now. More encouragingly, linebacker Nakobe Dean is finally nearing his return. He's been practicing for over a week now after a long rehab from his playoff knee injury, and while he's not expected to have a major role just yet, he could be active for this game. The team is clearly being cautious with him, which makes sense considering he missed all of training camp. But just having him back in the rotation is a good sign, and his role should grow as he gets reacclimated. And then there's the situation at cornerback. Rookie Khalil Ringo appears to have taken over the starting spot from Adoree Jackson, and based on what we've seen so far, that change might be sticking. Ringo has made the most of his opportunity, and even though it's not officially confirmed, it sounds like the coaching staff is leaning toward keeping him in that role. With Jackson just coming back from injury and Ringo showing flashes of strong play, it makes sense to give a younger guy more reps. Developing young talent on a team that's trying to compete now is always a tough balance. But when the kid is playing better, the decision becomes easier. The Eagles will be hitting the field in their white jerseys and black pants combo, always a fan favorite. And maybe, just maybe, the fresh look brings some fresh energy to this squad. It's not superstition if it works, right? Also, a small but notable development. Former Eagles C.J. Gardner-Johnson signed with the Ravens practice squad, officially ending any hope of a Philly reunion. Not exactly shocking, but now it's confirmed. So heading into Thursday night, the Eagles find themselves at a crossroads. They've got the talent, the leadership, and now maybe even a spark of momentum coming from that private meeting between their offensive stars. But talent alone isn't enough. If they want to reclaim their identity as one of the league's most complete teams, they'll need to show it where it counts, on the field, in a divisional game, under the primetime lights. While the Eagles may be positioned to bounce back on Thursday night, none of it will matter if they keep getting in their own way. The issues that have held this team back aren't just about injuries or individual mistakes. They're about rhythm, cohesion, and execution. This team hasn't looked like the well-oiled machine we saw last year. Instead, it's been a string of ups and downs, and far too often, they're shooting themselves in the foot when it matters most. Penalties at key moments, miscommunication between quarterback and receivers, inconsistent play calling. It all adds up. And in the NFL, even a few small breakdowns can turn a winnable game into a frustrating loss. Take the offense, for example. Over the last few weeks, there have been stretches where Jalen Hurts looks completely in control, threading passes into tight windows and orchestrating drives with ease. But then there are other moments when it feels like the offense stalls out of nowhere. Drives that start with promise end in punts or field goals because a holding call, a blown block, or a pass that sails just a little too far. The margin for error in this league is razor thin, and the Eagles have been walking that line too often. One of the more puzzling aspects of this offensive inconsistency has been how frequently the coaching staff goes into a shell. Kevin Patullo has taken heat for his conservative tendencies, especially in the second halves of games where the Eagles have the lead or are trying to claw back. Too many early down runs into loaded boxes, too many short routes on third and long, too much predictability. Defenses have adjusted to what Philly likes to do, and instead of countering with creativity, the Eagles have leaned harder into the same habits. That has to change. When the offense is at its best, it's aggressive, it's fast, and it puts pressure on defenses with motion, tempo, and big plays. They have the weapons to do it. Now it's just about calling the right plays and executing them. And speaking of execution, the offensive line is still a huge part of this conversation. With Landon Dickerson likely sidelined, that unit is going to be tested even more than usual. Whoever steps in for him has to be ready because the Giants, despite their struggles overall, have a few guys on that defensive front who can cause problems. It's not a dominant group, but if the Eagles' O-line doesn't play clean and physical football, New York could make things uncomfortable for Hurts in the pocket. And when Hurts is under pressure and the run game isn't helping him out, that's when the offense starts to sputter. Now, this could be the game where Saquon Barkley finally puts together a breakout performance in Midnight Green. He's had moments this season, but not that one defining game where he takes over. If there was ever a matchup to do it, this is it. The Giants haven't exactly been stopping the run, and with his familiarity with their defense and motivation to make a statement against his old team, Barkley should be hungry. Of course, the success of the run game won't fall solely on him. It's going to come down to the line opening up space and the play calls putting him in positions to succeed. Outside runs, zone reads, misdirection. Those are the kinds of designs that could help unlock Barkley's explosiveness. Defensively, the Eagles have shown flashes of dominance, but just like the offense, they've been inconsistent. There are quarters where they suffocate opposing offenses, forcing 3-and-outs and collapsing the pocket with ease. But there are also stretches where the secondary looks confused, linebackers miss assignments, and the pass rush just doesn't get home. Injuries have played a role here too, but it's more than that. It's about being locked in for 4 quarters, especially in these divisional games where teams know your tendencies and exploit even the smallest weaknesses. One of the brighter developments has been the rise of rookie linebacker Jair Brown, who has been one of the most pleasant surprises of the season so far. His coverage grade is among the best in the league, and he's shown a maturity and awareness that you just don't expect from a first-year player. That's why there's no rush to throw Nakobe Dean back into a heavy role just yet. He's coming off a serious injury, missed the entirety of training camp, and has had very limited practice time. So while it's encouraging that he's close to returning, the Eagles are smart to ease him back in slowly. There's no need to disrupt a good thing, and right now, the linebacker group is holding its own. In the secondary, the situation is still evolving. Khalil Ringo earning more snaps over Adoree Jackson is a storyline worth watching. Ringo, though inexperienced, brings a physical presence and athleticism that stands out. He's made mistakes, sure, but the flashes of high-level play are there. And for a team like the Eagles that's always thinking about both now and the future, giving the younger player a longer look makes a lot of sense. Vic Fangio's comments didn't confirm anything outright, but it's pretty clear that Ringo's performance has earned him more than just a temporary role. If he keeps improving, he could lock down that spot for the rest of the year and possibly beyond. Even with all the roster movement and injury concerns, the core of this team remains intact. The leaders are still in place. The talent is still undeniable. But the biggest question is whether they can put it all together and perform like the contenders they were expected to be. So far this season, we've seen glimpses, but not a full 4-quarter performance that truly sends a message. Thursday night could be the chance to deliver that. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. And what could be the most electrifying move of the offseason? Whispers around the league suggest that the Philadelphia Eagles are set to welcome a true game-changer to their defensive line. The name circulating in locker rooms, social media, and sports bars alike? Chris Jones. While the Eagles have been tight-lipped, insiders hint that the team is about to announce a signing that could redefine their defensive front. Jones, known for his relentless pass rushing and bone-crushing presence in the trenches, has long been on the radar of teams looking to add a disruptive force. His ability to collapse pockets, command double teams, and dominate in both run-stopping and pass-rush situations makes him one of the most coveted defensive linemen in the NFL. If the rumors hold true, the Eagles' DL will suddenly become a nightmare for quarterbacks across the league. Fans are already buzzing with speculation. Could this be the piece that finally solidifies Philly as a defensive powerhouse? Some analysts argue that Jones' impact goes beyond statistics. His leadership and sheer intensity elevate everyone around him, creating a domino effect of pressure and turnovers. The chatter is that his presence alone might change game plans for opponents, forcing them to reconsider even the simplest of offensive plays. Philadelphia, a city that thrives on passion and grit, seems primed for this kind of headline-making addition. Eagles supporters are imagining a revamped defensive line that hits like a freight train, combining youth, speed, and now, perhaps, the monster force that is Chris Jones. While nothing is officially confirmed, the air is thick with anticipation, and speculation continues to swirl. What will this mean for the team's Super Bowl ambitions? Can the Eagles' front seven finally achieve the kind of dominance that has eluded them in recent seasons? For now, all anyone can do is wait, watch, and hope that the rumors turn into reality. If Jones does land in Philadelphia, one thing is certain. The Eagles' defensive line will be talking points for months, and opposing quarterbacks might start losing sleep just thinking about facing this new, monstrous addition. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.